Now at noon, the deal in place to end the government shutdown, what it means for federal workers, and when they might start getting paid again. Thousands of local workers at OHSU are poised to go on strike. We'll have the latest from the hospital, including details on the possible impacts. Also coming up, thousands of miles of forest damaged by extreme heat. What researchers say the heat dome in 2021 did to Oregon's trees, and why they say it could happen again. KGW News at noon starts right now. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Drew Carney. Let's get to our top story this afternoon. It's what looks to be the finish line to the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. One area that's been impacted, of course, is travel. These are photos from Atlanta, one of the busiest airports in the country, where passengers are rebooking trips with flights canceled across the country. Now, the Senate voted to advance a stopgap funding bill last night, and lawmakers in D.C. are working on amendments to it today. Here's Amy Kiley with the latest.
The motion upon reconsideration is agreed to.
The government's a big step closer to reopening after the Senate voted to advance a stopgap funding bill last night. It's a compromise between centrist Democrats and Republicans. It does not extend expiring Obamacare subsidies, so many Democrats opposed it.
We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin.
Republicans do agree to a vote on the subsidies by early next month.
We have senators, both Democrat and Republican, who are eager to get to work to address that crisis in a bipartisan way.
The bill funds much of the government through January. The broader deal has longer provisions for military, construction, and Veterans Affairs, the legislative branch, and agriculture. The plan funds SNAP through September.
People are hungry. And you can see also, sometimes in the kids' eyes, you can see their fear, because they're afraid.
For federal workers, the agreement ensures shutdown back pay. It reverses recent mass firings and prohibits any more this fiscal year. If the plan becomes law, federal employees will get paid again. That could prevent scenarios like this around Thanksgiving.
They changed the flight, then they changed it again. Eventually it got canceled. And when we got to standby, there were like 30 other people on standby.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
One more note to Amy's report. Senators representing the Pacific Northwest voted against this deal. They argue the Trump administration is using vulnerable families as bargaining chips. The Senate will hold a final vote before sending the deal off to the House. All right, regarding the local travel impacts of the shutdown, FlightWare reports 26 flights have been canceled at Portland's airport in the last 24 hours. Yesterday, there were 16 canceled flights, 32 delays. The government ordered a 10% cut to flights at the nation's 40 busiest airports. That includes Portland's. Federal workers at the airport have gone more than a month at this point without pay. And the U.S. Transportation Secretary says deeper cuts are coming if the shutdown lasts much longer. In other local headlines this afternoon, a Clackamas County deputy shot a man last night near Sandy after a 911 caller reported his 44-year-old son set a utility trailer on fire. Deputies and a state trooper found the man along Southeast 362nd Avenue, but the sheriff's office did not say what exactly led up to the shooting. The man was taken to the hospital. He's in stable condition. The deputy is on paid administrative leave, which is sheriff's office policy. All right, break from the news headlines here to check in with my friend Rod Hill in the Weather Center. What are you working on there, Rod?
Well, I've been watching some rain on radar. So far, Portland's been dry, so let's show you what's going on. By the way, some heavier rain pockets have moved through Chehalis. Obviously, that's to our north, but up in Washington. Astoria has had some hours of light rain passage, but so far I think it's 2/100ths of an inch of rain is all that's collected. In Portland, the radar is picking up some light rains bouncing up against the Cascade foothills, but that developed along the mountains and did not hit downtown. We are cloudy, including at the coast. Here's Chinook Woods Casino Resort in Lincoln City, and here's downtown Portland with the cloud cover. Clouds thin somewhat as you head out to the east and as you drop south. This is east out through the gorge in Hood River. That's Indian Creek Golf Course, where they have been dry, and there is a chance of some traces of rain in Hood River, but better chance that you folks won't see anything today. So Portland right now, overcast and 53. We carry an ongoing chance of a light shower passage at some point today that we may or may not get in any one location. About 58 degrees for high. Winds are light. 7-day tracks, likely rain returning on Thursday. And Drew, we'll talk more about that coming up.
All right, thank you, Rod. There's a strike looming at OHSU. Thousands of workers there will vote this week on whether or not to authorize a strike. KGW's Thomas Schultz has more from the hospital.
Well, guys, these are workers, pretty much everybody here at OHSU that's not a doctor or a nurse or a student for that matter as well. So think custodians, painters, pharmacists, therapists, really all sorts of different working groups. The union says that they're looking for higher wages, especially for their lowest paid workers. Over the next 3 years, the union would like to see all of their workers paid at least $27 an hour. They say currently some make as little as $18 an hour. Last Wednesday, the union issued an impasse in negotiations after 10 months of bargaining. That means both sides will submit their best and final offer in a couple of days this Wednesday. That'll be followed by a 30-day cooling off period before a strike could occur.
It's disheartening to see other institutions in the Portland metro area, like bagel shops or car washes, offering $23 to $25 an hour for very entry-level jobs. Our workers, no matter what our workers do, are specialized and they are absolutely critical to the mission of OHSU.
In a statement, OHSU says they value their employees, adding OHSU's leadership and bargaining teams will continue working to reach an agreement while also ensuring that OHSU is financially sustainable for generations to come. Now, a big question here is, will operations and services continue at the current degree if there is a strike? We asked OHSU that question. They said yes, operations will continue at the current rate. Those negotiations will just be going on at the same time.
Again, that was Thomas Schultz reporting for us here this afternoon. All right, here's a look at some of this afternoon's national headlines now. Authorities recovered another body from last week's deadly UPS plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky. That brings the death toll to 14, with more expected. UPS and FedEx both grounded other cargo planes that are the same model as the one that crashed. Investigators say the plane's left engine caught fire and came off the plane before it went down. President Trump issued full and unconditional pardons to several allies accused of trying to overturn the 2020 election. They include Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and Mark Meadows, along with other co-defendants. Earlier today, the Supreme Court turned away an attempt to overturn the landmark 2015 ruling that legalized same-sex marriage here in the U.S. This appeal was made by Kim Davis, a former county clerk in Kentucky. She was sued back in 2015 for refusing to issue marriage licenses because of her religious opposition to same-sex marriage. Her latest appeal attracted considerable attention, especially considering the Supreme Court's ruling 3 years ago that overturned Roe v. Wade. Vice President J.D. Vance and the Second Lady visited Walter Reed National Military Medical Center today. The Vice President toured the hospital's training facility where wounded veterans undergo physical therapy. Vice President Vance talked with some of those wounded veterans who will celebrate Veterans Day tomorrow. That's when the entire nation will pause to honor Americans who have served. And that's a look at some of today's national headlines.